Committee, both in the House of Representatives and the Senate, don't get too happy. It's been sitting there since February the 2nd of 2020. Now I'm mad. Are you mad? I'm mad. So let me tell you the history. On February the 20th of 2020, what is referred to as the Coercive Control Bill was introduced to the House of Representatives. I want to make sure I get the name right. It was a former representative, McLean Toole, Toole. He presented that bill read it into the House of Representatives, and what happens after that is it's referred to what's called a Judiciary Committee. Now, the Judiciary Committee is tasked with looking at the bill, seeing what needs to be improved, what needs to be deleted. In other words, going through the process to make sure that it is properly codified and put in, and that it's ready for law. So the Coercive Control Bill, when it was introduced as House Bill number 5271. You can get online and track it. It goes nowhere. It goes to the Judiciary Committee, and it goes no further. Folks, that was 4 years ago. Then again, I said, on January the 12th of 2021, House Representative Robert J., also referred to as RJ, May, M-A-Y the 3rd, he introduced the same bill, Coercive Control Bill. It was known as House Bill 3621. That was 3 years ago. When you do the research on the bill, guess what? It got referred to the Judiciary Committee. Now, normally when it gets there, there should be a subcommittee that is assigned to take that particular bill, to study it, to review it, to bring in whatever advisors or other professionals to help craft that bill and put it into hopefully its perfect form. It went to the Judiciary Committee in the House and never went any further. Can't find where it was assigned to anyone or anything. Now let's go back 2.5 years ago. December the 7th, 2021. Senator Katrina Fry Shelley, she introduced into the Senate the Coercive Control Bill. What do you think happened to it? Got referred to the Judiciary Committee. I need to tell you more about that particularly. And before I do so, let's make sure everyone understands what is the Coercive Control Bill. Coercive control refers to a pattern of behavior used by one person to dominate, manipulate, and intimidate another within an intimate or familial relationship. It encompasses acts such as assault, threats, humiliation, emotional abuse, and isolation. The goal is to harm, punish, and frighten your victim through fraudulent representations. It often refers to specific types of behavior. The Coercive Control Bill, Senate Bill 927, sitting in the Senate right now, offers a definition for coercive behavior. I have reviewed it. I agree. I am a lawyer, so I have some input on that. I agree with a lot of the things that are listed there, but I think they left out a few. The bill itself, whenever this is called status information. It's about the bill that's in the Senate called coercive control. Interestingly enough, after it was introduced and read in by Senator Shealy, if you look at other bills, what happens a lot of times, other senators or other representatives will jump on board. After it's read, you'll start seeing, when you look through the history of it, and say, this particular representative or this particular senator has asked for the bill, for them to be added as a sponsor to the bill. I don't see any other name on there for Senator Shealy. I think part of that has to do with how the public, as well as maybe our legislators, as well as our police department, are not educated to this form of abuse. It is real, people, and it is real damaging. Now, the interesting thing is back in 2019 and 2020, both of those years, I want to say it was WPDE, did a series on coercive control, emotional abuse, psychological warfare. Also, running for re-election, I believe, at the time, was Senator Luke Rankin, who, if you'll recall, pointed to his opponent and said he was involved in domestic violence. Seems to me that that was on his mind. Do you know who is in control and who the chairman is of the committee on the judiciary in the Senate? Luke Rankin. He has the ability to assign this bill to a subcommittee. He has the ability, if he wanted to, put it on his agenda and walk it all the way through and make sure it gets done. This bill has been put in a folder in a dust-covered box in a back corner of the closet in the Judiciary Committee's office. I challenged them to go back there and find it and bring it out and assign a committee to it. Let's get this done. It is important. It is extremely important. Now, going back to the bill and how it defines controlling behavior. According to this proposed bill, and granted, this can change, and this bill does need some work, okay? But it's a start, it's some bones, it's something to deal with, or to start with. Controlling behavior, also, excuse me, I want to go to the next thing, which is types of behavior. This bill lays out types of behavior to look for. Now, I don't know if you saw or you remember, but there was an interview that was done of me that said, hey, do you think, what do you think about the police and what they did? Well, here's what I think. I think the police didn't have anything to look to. They show up, they look for bruises. They look for black eyes. They look for scratches. They look for those types of things. And not seeing any, no crime here. They don't have a law to look to. Now, let me read you some of these behaviors that had this been a bill, a law at the time, the police officers would have had something to look to and to gauge it. The offense of coercive control of another person may include, but is not limited to, the following types of behavior. The very first one, isolating a person from their family and friends. In and of itself, that is not a crime. Next is depriving a person of their basic needs: food, shelter, clothing. The next one is monitoring a person's time. That's done a number of ways. Trackers, PIs, looking through their cell phones, looking at what they're doing online, driving by the job, who you talking to, where you at. D, subsection D, monitoring a person via online communication tools and using spyware. You know, the interesting thing here is when people are married and the police are called to a domestic situation, usually what happens is they're told by the police officers, because this is what they get to go to, is, ma'am, sir, this sounds like a domestic issue. You need to go see a family court lawyer, or you need to go file something in family court. Well, the first thing that a coercive control abuser does is take away your money, take away your transportation, and your way of communication, and the forensic support group. How are you going to get there? How are you going to pay for it? Going on to the next one, E says taking control over aspects of a person's everyday life, including where the person may go, who the person may see, what a person may wear, and when a person may sleep. Next is depriving a person access to support services and medical services. Next is repeatedly insulting a person, including expressing the person's worthlessness. Enforcing rules and activities within the home that humiliate, that degrade, and dehumanize a person. Next is forcing a person to take part in criminal activity, including shoplifting and neglect or abuse of children. Children are often used as tools and weapons against the one that they want to dominate. We also encourage the person's self-blame and prevent disclosure to authorities. If you tell, this is what's going to happen to you. Next is financial abuse, including control of finances and only allowing a person a punitive allowance. You don't need to get your hair done. That looks fine. You don't need to have money for that. You don't need a new set of boots. You got plenty. Next is threats to hurt or kill. That's a lot. Threats to a child, threats to reveal or publish private information or extort the person or a member of the person's family in retaliation by legal or other means. Assault. Most people think of assault plus or battery. Assault and battery. Assault is in the fear. Someone placing you in fear. Raising my hand, my fist to you. You're afraid I'm going to hit you. That's an assault. Usually what happens after an assault is the battery, where the hand or the fist comes down. Assault doesn't leave bruises, but it sure does on the psyche of the person who's experiencing it. After that is rape. Non-consensual, of course that's what that means. Sex that both parties don't agree to. There's no past when you're married. Preventing a person from having access to transport or from working. Taking their car away from them. They lose their job. They can't go to their mamas. They can't, They see their friend who's their confidant, and they want that they can lean on. And take the children to the daycare to get to the job. Transportation impacts a lot of areas. Those are the types of behaviors that are listed by this bill. I have developed what's called Mica's list. Mica's list tracks what the bill says. And we put together things that she journaled, diary, or put together to say happened. Please keep in mind that John Paul Miller has never been arrested for domestic violence. He's never been arrested for any harm against Mica. And everything that's put in here, quite frankly, is her words on paper. I have no reason not to believe her, but in fairness, you need to understand that what I'm about to read are things that Mica alleged in her writings and journal. I'm not going to go through the ones that we just went through. I'm going to go through the ones that I suggest and recommend that the Judiciary Committee consider asking the subcommittee that hopefully will be assigned very soon to consider. General emotional abuse. All of this together is emotional abuse, psychological abuse. It's psychological warfare. Ignoring requests and commands to stop, to leave me alone, go away. Cruelty to your pets. That one's used just like children. Destruction of property. Keying cars, slashing tires, whatever that may be. Destruction of the supporting evidence that the alleged victim had in mind to use against the perpetrator. Misuse of legal documents. Sending letters such as cease and desist to threaten to file lawsuits or threaten to take other legal action is an improper use of the legal system. I don't know how many people would ever get a letter from a lawyer that would not be concerned or afraid. That's what we do when we send those letters. We threaten to sue you. Next I would suggest is misuse of legal documents. Excuse me, I'm sorry to say that. Misuse of law enforcement. Calling the police for no reason. Gaslighting, saying something happened that didn't happen. Tell somebody they can do something, then turn around and call the cops on them and tell them that you didn't say that. Whatever. That's such a waste of time and taxpayers' money. The law enforcement need to be doing other things than that. But it's intimidating. Then you find yourself you're having to defend yourself against something you didn't do. Misuse of the legal process. Filing divorce actions, dragging you into court, dropping them, filing them again, dropping them, filing other papers in the court. Using the court system not for legitimate purposes, but for purposes of intimidation and control. Another factor should be adultery, promiscuity. Another should be stealing a person's identity. Folks, do y'all know in today's time, technology, we can control everything from our phones. We can start our car, we can slam on brakes, we can turn up the heat, and we can turn down the cold. Our domestic violence statute is archaic. We gotta get it up to times, up to today standards, taking into consideration all the things and ways that a person who wants to control and intimidate can use. I would refer to that as cyber or technology abuse. Medical abuse, making a person take medication that they're not prescribed, making them do other things, denying them access to medical care. Lots of different things that can happen there under medical abuse. Spiritual abuse, And that's when I'm saying church abuse, but it really should say position of authority abuse. If your loved one works for you, or you work for them, they have a position of authority on you. How you like that? You don't like what I say to do? You don't do what I tell you to do? You just lost your job. And then whenever you go and do all this list of things that I want you to do, I might let you come back. That's also financial control. Phone calls to everybody to explain everything. Called your mama, called your sister, called your brother, called your daddy, called your lawyer, called everybody. Explain it. And the last, of course, from my perspective, is physical abuse that doesn't leave marks. The shove against the wall, the hand around the throat to hold against the wall just long enough and tight enough where you can't move, but it won't leave a mark. Holding you down, won't let you up. Those are physical abuse that don't leave marks. The police come, they don't see marks. You can't do much. This will give them the tool that they need. There needs to be education about what coercive control is. Someone who's not lived in it or been a part of it sometimes has a difficulty wrapping their mind around what this is. Coercive control is basically like a psychological warfare. It will damage the very soul of a person. It will make them doubt and lose their self-confidence, and especially their self-worth. And they'll give up. They'll give up on being happy. And they'll survive and trudge through day by day, or maybe they won't. What this family wants you to do is to help this. We want Mica's law. We want the coercive control bill to be looked at, taken seriously, put some time into it. And somebody make an amendment. You add your name as a sponsor and make an amendment to call it Mica's law. And what can you do? What can each of you do specifically? Sometimes we feel like we're not effective. We can't do certain things. Getting this law on the books will help. So, what we have done I'm just going to show you. These are purple folders or envelopes that have all been stuck and addressed to every member in the House of Representatives that are on the Judiciary Committee. There's also one in there for every senator that's on the Judiciary Committee. So y'all look for your purple envelopes. Now, what the public can do here is hold your legislators accountable. What have they been doing? Take a look at it. Contact your legislators, both in the House and in the Senate. Let them know you're mad. Let them know you're on board. Let them know that you are their constituent, and if they want your vote next year, they better get this done. You can call them. Their numbers are published online. The website to go to is www.scstatehouse.gov. If you don't know who your senator is for your district, if you don't know who your house or who your representative is in the House, you can go on that website, put in your address, and it'll tell you who that person is. So I would encourage you to reach out to whoever is representing your district in both the Senate and the House. But don't forget those who are on the Judiciary Committee. So go there and you can look for the Judiciary Committee, both in the Senate and the House. You'll get the names of everybody there that's serving on that committee. They make it very easy. They have a place online there where you can submit an electronic message to them. You don't need to go and do all of this work. You can simply go online, fill out the form, submit it, and they'll have it. If you want to do a letter, but you just don't know what to say in it exactly, I have created a template form that's available for anybody who would like it. You can use it just like it is, or you can change it up, or you can use it as inspiration and write whatever you want. But please get those letters out there. You can also send them an email saying the same thing. Those email addresses are published on that scstatehouse.gov website. And then next, just put it on your calendar every now and then. They have a thing called tracking that bill. Track that bill. Thank you to everybody for being here and for your patience. I know everybody was looking forward to seeing the drama in the courthouse or in the courtroom. There was never going to be any drama in the courtroom. It is not a live testimony type of hearing. Nobody got on the stand, nobody would be cross-examined, that kind of a thing. It's simply a packet of papers that have been presented to the judge while he sat in silence while she reviewed the information and made her decision. So we do appreciate you standing out there in the heat too and waiting for us. At this time,